pick up on live. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag I'm going to tag I'm going to tag the page, and they'll be able to watch it if not from your page, or you can pick it up from the National Black Unity News. If you have your phone, you
I
can pick it up from
do. I
there
have it
and
down.
share.
Turn my volume down, and I'll be
Yeah,
able to pick
correct, correct. Oh, you see, you're good to go.
it up. I'm trying to make it what they call it, a win-win situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we want to welcome everyone to the the author showcase brought to you by the National Black Unity News and JNF Enterprises. Hope y'all can see this. I finally remembered to have the newspaper. So once I go live, I'm gonna show it again too, so that folks can see it when we go live on Facebook. But I want everyone to be able to see and to understand. This is the Author Showcase brought to you by the National Black Unity News. You can see that,
Okay.
and JNF Enterprises. We are elated to bring you some of our nation's greatest great writers, authors, and today, poets. And as you all may or may not know about me, I love poetry. I am a poet lover. I've written 3 books myself, so it is a joy to have with me today our author that we will be I will be introducing in just a couple of minutes. So we want to welcome everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's your boy, the Impact Builder, Leroy McKenzie Jr., coming to you all. It is always a pleasure to introduce and to be with you all on the Author Showcase. It is always great to be able to bring you some of our nation's greatest authors and writers, because as we all know, not just that words matter, but our message matters, and all of those things that we do when we bring ourselves before everyone as authors and as writers and everything. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in. What we're going to do, I'm going to introduce our author that we have today showcasing. Usually I don't do this, but I'm gonna do this today. I'm gonna do this. I usually don't do the bio because I like for the author to kind of talk about themselves, and we'll get to have you talk about yourself. But I'm gonna give the bio, and then what I'm gonna have you do is tell us something about you that's not in the bio. Just a little bit
And
of,
guess
yeah.
what? I got a lot more that's not in that bio.
Right. I was looking at your bio and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna pick up a little piece of this. So
Okay.
because it is just one, a it's a bio that is filled with years of experience, with years of knowledge, information, and that's what we're about with the Author Showcase. We want to be able to give those aspiring authors, even those authors that are out there now, we want to give them something that they might not readily see or hear anywhere else. With the Author Showcase, and when we have authors such as yourself that are on, we want to be able to say, we want to give you the ability to be able to share that knowledge and information, and even resources that you want to share with us. So let me read this really quickly,
Are
and
we
then
live now?
yes, yes, we actually are
Okay.
live. Yep. So let me read this a little bit, and just to give you all a little bit, Miss Abena Disroe is the founder of the Poets Den, an open mic venue that focuses on educating and tapping into the creative spirit of artists and those who want to strengthen their art form. Abena hosted the second annual Spoken Word Expo, where poets from across the United States came together in St. Louis, Missouri. She opened all 4 shows on the East Coast with the jazz legend Angela Bofield, and was featured on the cable show to open up for the jazz legend Miss Patty Austin. Wow, that's some good names right there. Affectionately called the High Priestess of Poetry, Many have seen Abena perform at the, and I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this right, Neurokin,
You're Rican.
a Neo-Rican
That's okay.
Cafe in New York, the National Theater and Source Theater in Washington, D.C., Port-au-Prince, and Haiti, an international radio station. Um, Miss Sabina is the embodiment of the definition of community empowerment, organizational leadership, creativity, and compassion. She is endowed with a myriad of skills, capacities, which she applies with such grace and determination that she has been dubbed the community communicator, the high priestess of poetry, and the spirit of the people. In her more than 30 years of dedicated local, regional, national, and international service, Abena has a BS in Mass Communications from Jackson State University, which Mr. Deion Sanders just became the head coach down there. Um,
Right.
yeah,
I read.
yeah. He's been all over the news talking about that, but he's the new head coach for Jackson State University, which I think is great, which is awesome.
I was there when Walter Payton was there.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, wow. Yes, yes. And he talked about that. He talked about there was Walter Payton, and there were a couple other famous NFL players that have
Right.
graduated from Jackson
I
graduated from
hung out
Jackson
his
State.
place in Chicago.
Uh huh. Yep. Um, you graduated as an events management planner from George Washington University from the School of Business and Management. Um, Abena spent years at Johns Hopkins University School of Advanced and International Studies in Washington, D.C., conducting workshops in leadership development, conflict resolution, and asset mapping as an art and poetry therapist and youth empowerment facilitator and spiritual leader with the gift of being able to bring. Ms. Disroe is a treasured, accomplished cultural ambassador, organizer, and spiritual leader with the gift of being able to bring diverse people together to work and collaborate successfully. So, as y'all can see, I ain't even got the half of the stuff on the resume,
I
but I
know.
would like to welcome the priestess, Miss Abena Disroe. So, welcome to the show, ma'am, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. We thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be able to join us and come and give us some words of wisdom and all those things. So I want to start off just this by this, but like I said, I've read the biography, I've read the bio, but if you would just tell the audience just something about you that we're not going to see or that we're not going to readily hear in your bio or on your resume because that's a very impressive resume. So just to let you know.
Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about and something I never really talked about before. This would be the first time.
Okay.
Um, and that's because I want to talk about some of the things that shaped my character, things that I learned from my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you do not realize just what you learn from parents until much later in life. And one of the things is my mother had 11 children,
Okay. Okay.
11 boys and 5 girls. Okay. Um, she, after she raised all of us, all 11 of us, after everybody became an adult, she went back to school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She went back to school and she graduated and on the dean's list after years and years of not being in school and only graduating with a high school diploma. What I learned from that is something very important that a lot of people discuss. Oh, I'm too old for this. Oh, I'm too old for that. I learned that it's never too late
Mm.
to build, to achieve your goal, or to reach for your dream. Because my mother didn't have an easy life, and but she ruled with an iron thumb. She always said to me some of the very important things that she told me that I realized how important it is. Always pay your bills on time. Later on, I found out that you can get poor credit or bad credit if you don't do it. You know, some of the things that they tell you, you don't get it up here until much later.
Yeah, absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
I learned that there's some basic things that you need to know how to do. You need to know how to clean,
Mm,
and they always talk about godliness is next to cleanliness. You need to know how to cook
mm-hmm.
because not only I found out you can save money, but so many other things. And I'm talking about my mother because, and just like I called you just a few minutes ago, you didn't know. This morning I got a call that my mother had passed.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's difficult. But one of the things she told me also was things come up in life. Sometimes they're beautiful, sometimes they're wonderful, sometimes they're very happy, and sometimes they're hard. But whatever you do, always keep your commitments. And I've always been a person that no matter what I'm going through or no matter what has occurred, I try to keep my commitment, especially if I made a promise,
So,
regardless of what the other person may say. That's something I feel in my spirit that I must do. And by doing this today, I feel like I'm also honoring my mother in a certain way by
absolutely.
following her teachings.
Yeah.
So I want you to know that, Mr. Host, so that you don't feel any certain way about me being on, because I feel like I'm also honoring her teachings. And
Absolutely.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Okay?
that's the same thing I did when, as I mentioned to you before, when I lost my dad in 2012. I remember I had a speaking engagement the very next day, and I had to travel
Uh,
to Philly. I had to travel up to Philly, and I remember talking to my sisters, and and everything. And I talked with the people that were, that were hosting the workshop that I was going to be doing and everything. And they said, "We
yeah.
totally understand if you, if you aren't, able to come and everything like that." But I felt the exact same way that you did, honoring my father because I knew the man that he was. I was like, knowing him, he'd be like, don't you dare not go," because
Hey,
that was what he would do, and everything like that. So I feel exactly the way that you
right,
do
so
with
you
honoring,
understand.
yeah, yeah, with honoring, with you honoring your mother and everything like that. So that is truly, how we feel about, those that gave us life and brought us here. That we honor them just by doing what we do,
Right,
and
right.
everything like that. So I thank you, for honoring your mother and everything like that. So we
Right. And
appreciate
the
that.
last thing I like to mention on that particular thing would be that after everyone became adult, I mean, the last child,
Mhm.
out of 11, she graduated. She went back to school, graduated on the dean's list. She decided she wanted to go into business.
Okay.
And we had a garage next to the house, really just things in there. She cleared it out. She set it up and started a beauty salon and
Oh
started
wow.
having clients and all of that and started her business after raising 11 children into adulthood. She decided to do that, which taught me a very valuable lesson also. And that is that no matter where you are in life, if you really want to achieve it, you can do it, even if you don't have a clue how to do it. If the passion is in here, the desire is in here, you'll find the knowledge and the
Mhm.
wisdom to get it done. And if it's really strong in your heart and your spirit and your soul and the passion is there, you don't know, they'll send somebody. Somebody will appear to say, "Oh, I heard you were trying to do this. But have you thought about this? And have you thought about that?" It just seems like everything aligns itself according to your passion and your belief.
That is so true, because and I've honestly believed that what you just said, because to me the mind, when you think about something and it's something that you want to achieve or that you want to work for, the mind will work towards that. That's just how he made us, that
yeah,
that our minds are triggered by, like you said, finding the information that we need, that person, that mentor that we
yeah,
need in order to be able to assist us to be able to navigate through, getting to where it is that we want to get to, will appear. They'll
yeah.
appear however they appear. You just be like, how, wow, that's how our minds attract, you know, attract that which we believe in and everything like that. So it is
Words
that
have
is so true.
words have power. They
Absolutely.
really do. And
Yes.
what I just said reminds me, what's that saying? They said, when you're ready, the teacher will
The
appear.
teacher will appear.
Yes,
Absolutely.
it's true.
And that is very true. That is very true because we're willing. We have to be willing
Yeah,
in order to be able to achieve. And I had one of my, I call him, he's one of my mentors. His name is Dr. George Frazier, and I asked him about, just trying to make our communities better. How do we do that? How do we shift the mindset of a lot of people, the things that are going on? He said only go and work with the willing, and
yeah.
that has stuck with me. Those that are willing to do the work, those are going to be the ones that put forth the effort. You
And
can't worry.
some people, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that some they're going to be people that aren't willing to come along or willing to do the work. But when you're willing and you want to achieve something, and you have people that have that same mindset, you can accomplish more than having somebody who you're trying to pull, to pull to go and do the work with you, as opposed to someone who's already willing and running with you in that same direction.
And how important that is maintaining your sanity. Because
For
if
sure.
you can choose those people to be around you, your work is less in your mind. You already know that they're going to get it done. You won't have sleepless nights
Yeah.
because if people aren't willing and they don't put the work in, and they can, and another thing, if they can't really see your vision,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you do, you're going to get stressed and you're going to hope it's going to be held back what you really trying to achieve.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about what got you started in writing. How did you come to want to take what you had inside of you and put it inside of a book?
Well, I would have to say this, reflecting back to high school.
Okay.
And like I said, sometimes the lesson is there. And I believe that everybody's born with a gift.
Mm,
Okay. And they find out what their gift is.
mm,
The only thing is, some people do not realize they have the gift, and some that realize it do not use their gift. And some, if that gift is something I believe that is a gift you hold that can help many others, someone will help you to recognize that that gift is in you.
mm,
I'll give you an example. Um, when I was in high school, I never forget, I was sitting by a tree during recess, and I just started writing this poem out of nowhere. I've never written a poem in my
mm,
life.
mm-hmm.
And the name of that poem was Nature Takes Meaning. At the time, many, many years after that, I didn't realize that really I had a connection with nature.
Mm,
And so, um, and so when I went off to junior college, I decided because of that, and I wrote that poem, and I liked it, and it felt good to write it. In my English class, they asked everybody to write a poem, so I wrote this poem. And my teacher, unbeknownst to me, sent it in to an annual anthology book of college poetry writing in Los Angeles, California, and they
mm-hmm.
published it. She came to me and told me afterwards that she liked the poem, she sent it in, and it was published, and gave me the book that it was published in.
Oh wow.
I know there was something in me. I like to write. I didn't know if I could write. And when she just did that, and brought it to me. I said, I can write. And so I just kept on writing a little bit here and there, but It took a little bit longer because, believe it or not, in my much younger years, then I was a shy girl. Right. I know that's unbelievable, right? But I was. But yeah, it was that poem in high school I wrote. Oh my God. You know how many years ago that was? I'm trying to think if I can remember it. And if I forget, forgive me. But it was called Nature Takes Meaning, my very first one. And it went something like this. It said, Nature Takes Meaning. To take a walk among the trees and feel the cool grass on your feet. To even look up at the sky, I must confess, is really nice. Take a walk. Look around and see just how beautiful nature can be. Watch a robin struggle with its worm and the jaybirds come to fighting terms. Nature takes meaning, and with meaning, you can understand nature too. That was my very first poem.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. That, I mean, and I know with me, and I don't know if this was the same for you with writing. I started writing when I was in college,
Okay.
and it was just me wanting to get the thoughts that I had in my head out, and just had no. It was just things that I'd seen, some experiences that I'd had, and some that I knew that friends that they had gone through. Didn't think anything of it. I just wanted to get it out of me. It was just something that I felt like you that was inside of me
Yeah.
that I wanted to be able to get out and express. And some years later, wound up showing it to to family and friends, and like you, they put that seed or that thought in my head. Man, you should put this in a
Right.
book. You put this in a book. And at first, like you, I'm like, I didn't know anything about writing a book. I said, yet alone, I didn't think that I had enough to be able to put into a book. But
Yes.
here's the thing that I found was the more that I wrote, the more that I had to say. And I was blown away by that. I was just like, wow. It's just you could like I just didn't realize that all of that was in me. And it's just like, man, like you. I was like, oh, I really can write.
But I like to ask you something. I know that you're asking me the questions, but
uh,
when you got it out of here
mhm.
onto paper, how did that make you feel?
Honestly, it made me feel so good. I'll give you one poem that I wrote, and this was maybe like a couple of years ago. It literally, I had a dream. I had a dream about, and it was a dream of a woman standing on my at my church's pulpit on the stage, and she was singing this
Mm,
song. She was singing this song, and
yeah.
and it woke me up. And as artists, we're always just thinking. So I promise you, Miss Adina, I could not go back to sleep until I wrote that poem that night. It would not let me go to sleep. And I sat up and I wrote that poem called "I Found It All" that night. I wrote it that night because it would not let me go to sleep. And
Mm,
it's just certain things that when you write, it does to you. And when you get them out, or when you see how you've expressed yourself, to me, I'm just like, wow. It's like, man, it just really, it gives me this really good feeling. Or it's and some of it, I honestly, it was like a relief because it was so much, what so much passion that was in what I was writing about, that I just was it was a relief to get
yeah.
it out, of me, and to have it on paper and everything like that too. So that's how I felt. I have felt several times, just in a
Be-
couple examples of how I felt after.
Before you do that, yeah, before you, I know you say you're going to do, before you do that, let me tell you how it makes me feel. That's why I asked you that.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times people say they like the poem and how it makes them feel. But
Right.
rarely does someone ask you,
Right.
how does it make you feel?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Now, because everything I recite, I write it myself. And so when I'm up and I'm reciting my poetry, most of the time I have music because
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
all of it's so interconnected. I have a band. But the way it makes me feel when I get there, at some point, I don't care if it's 5 people or 1,000 people out there listening. At some point, I don't see anybody.
Right. Right,
It's
right.
like it's somewhere I go inside, I'm reciting, and it's all in me, and I do not see not one person, and it's like a cleansing.
Mm,
When I'm finished, my focus comes back in place. I can start seeing the faces, but
mm,
it's like a purification. It's like something that's cleansed through me. I feel lighter. I can't even eat before I
mm,
perform. My temple has to be clear. I can't feel full because I already know that it's not the same if I eat before.
mm.
So I know every artist is different.
Right.
And there's an musician that taught me so much. His name was Brother Ah. His name is Robert Norton, but they call him Brother Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to get so nervous before I go up there, and people never think that I'm nervous.
Mm,
And I remember telling him, I said, Brother, I'm so nervous. And he told me, he said, once you reach the stage and there's no butterflies in your stomach, then you no longer have anything else to offer the world.
wow.
That's what
That,
he told me.
yeah.
And he's played with Miles Davis, Thelonious Monk, John Coltrane,
Oh my
all
gosh.
yes, all kinds of people. And that's what he told me.
Wow. Wow.
And bless his heart, rest in power. He passed uh, only about a month ago.
Oh wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow. But yeah, but that is true. If you're not nervous, then something's wrong because you should have that anxiety to me whenever you're performing,
yeah,
or even even if it's whether it's performing poetry, music, or even a show or something like that because you want it one to be its best, but then two you want to have that feeling of like you say giving something to someone. So if you aren't feeling that inside of you, you have nothing to give to somebody, you know, and you're not able to give to somebody. So that is
and when you do
that is
that,
true.
and when you do that, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead,
When
go
you
ahead.
do that, you have a sense of healing. You
Mhm.
have a sense, you feel this healing taking place inside of you. And when you feel that healing taking place inside of you, trust me, you are healing somebody else who is listening.
There it is.
And
There
that's
it is.
important to me.
Yeah,
That's
very
important to
important.
me.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
because it is a pouring into, and I say this that sometimes we're the pitcher and sometimes we're the glass, and I liken it to I tell business people when I'm talking about learning and everything like that, but poetry to me is the same way because sometimes we have the ability to pour into people with our words, like you said at the beginning, words matter, and then we
Words
even
have
as words have power, and even
yeah.
on the other end of that, when we receive those words from someone and they pour into us, because you never know what words somebody's going to say to you that are going to be either helpful to you or like you said healing to you in everything. So that's wonderful. That is truly wonderful. So let's talk about your project. I want you to tell everybody your project about your project. Now, is this your first book of poetry, or is this second, third book of poetry that you have?
This is this is my first book of poetry.
Okay,
I have
okay,
enough for a second one. I
okay.
just said yes, this is my first book of poetry. It's called Fire in the Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really happy to get it out. I've been doing poetry for years and years, and every time I step off of a platform, a stage, or whatever it may be, people used to always, and they still do, say, "Where can I get your book of poetry?"
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to say, "Well, I haven't written a book." I'm telling you, I mean, every time, where can I get your book of poetry? I'd like to buy your book of poetry. Well, now you can get a book. I have a book here, and it's called Fire in the Spirit. I
Love
mean,
that
it's
cover too. I love that cover. That is a awesome cover.
thank you. And this is the back here. Now, my plan was to have a virtual book signing on this Saturday, but I'm going to postpone that because I'm preparing to go home
Yes.
for my mother's homecoming. But I will be doing a virtual book signing in October of this year. I can't tell you the date,
Mhm.
but if you do not want to miss my virtual book signing, then you need to go to my website and let me know that you want to be a part of that. It's a form to fill out. I have the email address, or you can call, or you can email me. And I know, Mr. Hopes, you have all that information.
Yeah, and
And I
I'm going to
think,
have you give it out too before we. That'll be one of the last things we do to give out the information how people can connect with you. Okay.
right, and Mama Queen sister Nessie Wright is on Facebook Live, and I'm sure she'll be typing that in for me.
Okay. Great.
My website, the email, and everything and support. She'll be typing that in
Absolutely.
on your Facebook on that page. What page is the Facebook Live on? Black Unity, the
Yeah.
Black Unity News,
The National Black Unity News.
the National Black Unity News. You can see that right now on Facebook Live.
Uh huh. Yep. We'll make sure that we put it in the comment section, and also you can give it out if you'd like to as well. Um,
Let me tell you something very interesting about this book.
huh.
Um, it was 2 years ago. Well, not quite 2 years. I do not believe that I had a fire. Uh, I my whole place burnt down. I lost everything I had.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. They were things. I've recovered. Sometimes things happen and people say, "Oh, you're so strong. You just got back up." And but I don't know. It's just how you look at life and how when you lose things, how you look at what you've lost. There are
Mm.
things, but I had started working in writing. Said, "I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book." Already had my title, had the copyright and everything, but had not written the book. The
Mm.
title was Fire in the Spirit. The fire actually came up after the title.
Mm.
And during that time, after the fire, it was about 5 months later when I found residence in a new home. It's really very interesting. I had some very nice things there, art that I collected in Haiti. I've been to Haiti 6 times.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
And some other things that, especially family pictures and the pictures of my children when they were babies and all of that. But within all of that, during that time between transitioning where I didn't have a place to the time I had one, I started working on the book. And I've completed the book. And this book here is like me sharing that fire, that passion in my heart, in my spirit. I added a couple of new poems that I felt during different roads of the journey of my life, things that matter to me. But another thing that I'm so blessed to have the gift of, because I'm sensitive to nature and people, another person can be going through a life experience and I can feel it and write about that person's experience. That's why so many people, I say over the past 30 years, they come to me. They say, "Oh, it's my husband's anniversary. Can you write me a poem for him?" "Oh, my lost my sister. Can you write me a poem?" People have even asked me to come to funerals to people I've never met and do not know to write a poem about a person I don't know. They
Wow.
just believe that what I write is going to be the right thing for their loved one. And amazingly so, it always turns out where people think I really knew the person and that I've known them for a long time. But I don't look at it as something strange. I look at it as a calling because I believe I wouldn't be put in that position if a more higher something knew that I couldn't get it done. And they know to put it in that person to come to me to say, ask her.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a powerful gift to be able to do something like that. Um, and it just shows the respect that people have for the words that you share, and how you are able to um, take your words and be able to put them on somebody, like you said, that you aren't even that you don't even know, and that you aren't even familiar with, and everything like that. So that's great. So tell me this. I want to know this about the book, and I know the book is about poetry, fire in the spirit.
Yes.
Now, are there particular kinds of poems that you write that are in the book, or is it just kind of a compilation of different experiences that you have, something that you've gone through, something that you might have seen happen that you just had to kind of run and write about? Because I know that's how I do. I don't. People ask me, well, what kind of poems do you write? I said, I just write about what I see and what
Yes.
I feel. So is it the same way for you?
Well, people ask me all the time when I say I do poetry. They say, "Well, what kind of poetry do you write?" I write poetry about life, my
Mm,
experiences, and other people's experiences.
experiences. Mm-hmm.
I can go to sleep and have a dream and write a poem. I
Mm,
just write about life, but to let you know the chapters that I actually have in here, I broke them down to jazz and blues because
okay.
I love jazz. So I have jazz poetry.
Mm,
I have a section for the children. I have
okay.
a section for love, happiness. That's what it's called. And to the bone poetry. To the bone
Mm.
poetry to me is the kind of poetry that hits you right here. It's like truth. You know it's the truth. You can take it, you can accept it or not accept it. But it's the kind of poetry, and even if you don't see it as truth, it's something that is a seed that's planted up on the mind for you to ponder your mind upon while you say, I need to really think about this.
Mm, mm, mm. I
So
like
those are the chapters in there. But to answer your question, I write about everything. I write about things I don't know about. I write about things that I do. But for some reason, and like I said, I think it's a calling. A lot of my poetry takes on type of healing for others of experiences they have had that I do not know. Like at Howard University in the cancer department there,
that.
for 4 years, I did poetry for cancer patients while they were getting their chemotherapy.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
And it was very fulfilling, but times there was moments where it was fulfilling, but it was like you're in a part where you're doing something, but there comes a time when there's something that needed to be done that you can't do. I'll give you an example. There was one man I met in the hospital. He loved to draw and loved to paint. My daughter loved to draw and paint. So I took her there to meet him. I did poetry with him. And
Mm-hmm.
what I do is when you're healing, a lot of times people can't heal because they're holding the pain in.
Mm-hmm.
And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times you cannot talk about your pain. Everybody can it's just because a person carries it well doesn't mean it's not heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that pain inside slows down the progress of your healing. So I said, if you can't talk about it, if you can write about it, you're still getting it out. You're still getting it out. So while I was there they're getting a chemotherapy, I would take them through a guided tour. I said, what is it that you fear the most, or different things, or what is it you don't want to leave behind, or what is it that I mean, if something were to happen, just all kind of things. What are your fears? And so I guided them through writing a poem or two or three or four poems about those things that was most concerned, that was still on their mind, they couldn't talk about, but they wrote about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that took a healing on for them and a release that actually was so very healing for them and became peaceful. So when I took my daughter to meet this artist, I found out that he was great. Um, when we were leaving, he told me, he said, there's so much more I want to do. He said, I don't want to leave now. There's so much more I want to do. So I held his hand, and even though I feel like I'm doing something that's very valuable, that's very rewarding to me, and it's very healing for the other person. There's times it's so difficult that there's no words for it. You just have to embrace the person and hold their hand and hope that they can get some comfort out of that. Those kind of moments right there, I have to admit, they were painful for me because and now I know about this nurse and doctor relationship where you shouldn't get too close because you lose people. So I came to see him like 3 days later, and he was gone.
Mm. Yeah.
So when you take on using your art as a healing, you have to have a passion for it. It has to be in your heart, in your spirit, in your soul, or else things like that will make you stop.
Yeah, definitely, definitely will. Now, what's the message that you would like for the reader to come away with after they've read that last poem, after they've read the book? What do you want them to come away with?
Well, since I have a section, hadn't thought about a section for the children,
Hmm.
I would say that to realize how important it is through your art, whether it's visual, whether it's music, or whether it's poetry, how important it is to bridge the gap
Mm.
between the youth and the elders.
Yes, yes,
Find some kind
yes.
of way to use your art so that you can bridge the gap so that they can better understand, overstand, see that they have the same life experiences, even though it may have happened in 1960 opposed to 2020. It's so much similarity that the youth will begin to say, the elders are right when they said, excuse me, they're right when they said, there's nothing under the moon I haven't done. What you're doing now, I've already seen it.
Yep.
They to be able to bridge that gap in the thinking, in how you view life and experiences and all that. The same experience you're having here in 2020, they had that same experience in 1930. But to be able to bridge the gap for a better understanding, because when you have an art form, and you're putting it out there, and only 40 and 45-year-olds can understand it, how can you move forward in a way where when the youth picks that up, that they will include all the generations?
Hmm.
That's the way I see it.
Wow, that
Does
is
that make
awesome.
sense to you?
No, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect
Okay,
sense to me.
good.
Now, I can't let you come on here and be a poet
Oh,
and be a performer and not ask you to give us one of your poems and perform
okay.
whichever one you
I might
feel
do a
up to do. Okay, okay.
I'll start out. What I would like to do maybe is a jazz poem and then do a poem, what they call To the Bone.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Okay, I'm going to do, it seems like I've been talking a lot about the different ancestors, like Brother R. Robert Northern, my mother. This one here, I'm going to do this jazz poem. It's a tribute to Sarah Vaughan. I
Mm,
like Sarah Vaughan.
mm.
But the reason I'm doing it is because she passed from breast cancer. And my younger sister Rita passed from breast cancer. I believe it was about 9 or 10 years ago. And so I'm going to do this tribute to Sarah Vaughan, but also in honor of my sister Rita Darlene Disroe and all the other women who have passed from breast cancer. So this is my tribute to Sarah Vaughan. Easy listening. If you could see me now, I cover the waterfront of the Lord's Prayer with body and soul. Tenderly, she burst out those broken-hearted melodies. Don't blame me. Everything I have is yours, lover man. Here's that rainy day. I'll remember April. Misty she was, is. The divine one, the divine Sarah, Miss Sassy, Sarah Vaughan. Snuggle closer and pull me tight to you. Something's in the air and it feels good to have a mosquito bite me where you snuggle closer. Got you here in my arms and the dew from last night, I can smell it in the air. You pull me tight and it's no longer there. Feel that jazzy beat of the xylophone. Caress my heartbeat with that bass bow. There it goes all over again. That piano coming in with that melody. Bring it on down because I can feel that beat as I sway from side to side on this magical musical carpet ride. Play that trombone all in tune. I wanna grab that sassy saxophone and carry home that tune. Strum those strings, boom, 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 of that bass guitar. The sound of this music is out of sight. African village, call out my name as that drummer goes insane. The music stops. And I'm still here, bobbing my head, clapping to hear the next beat. Call me, yell out my name. Your voice, it whispers in my spirit, but loud is the song that moves the rhythm deep in my soul, searching for the right tune. I stand one doorstep away, 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 away from running, from jumping, from dashing through this jungle, dense with the heat of knowing, of wanting more and more and more. I'm Miss Sarah Bond, dance with the heat. I'm wanting just a little bit more right now, today. Yes.
Wow. Wow. That is awesome. I love it. I
Thank
love
you.
it. I love it.
Thank you. And I said one more, something to the bone.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't know if I want to do this. It's a lot of people heard this, but it's a lot of people who haven't. So that's my favorite one to the bone. Let me look at
Okay.
my chapter to see if I want to do it. Um, I was going to do concrete babies, but maybe I do one that people have never heard.
Okay. Okay.
Since that's on the table about women's bodies.
Mm.
And this poem here, no, I have never read it in public.
Okay.
It's called Where's the Father Now?
Mm.
He's now a father. He's having a baby. Isn't he lucky? It's from his favorite lady. It wasn't planned nor conceived on purpose. A miracle from God? Or maybe a blessing? A feeling of joy soon becomes pain because the father doesn't feel the same. Where does the joy go when he closes the door? He's so freely opened before. A vision of 9 months quickly becomes 9 weeks when the father demands an abortionist she must seek. Her legs are spread far apart, cold stirrups for her feet, but nowhere to place her breaking heart. Her joy is sucked through a plastic tube. At this point, there is nothing that she can do. Where's the father now? Behind the closed door, the one they entered in love before? She ages 25 years in 9 weeks because the light through the door cries to be free. One day, she'll feel better. This she knows, for she entered this door with an abundance of love. A part clinging like the root of a tree has so forcibly been shaken free. Her spirit is suffering from a terrible loss, occasional nightmares with a cold, cold, cold rush of blood. Where's the father now that he demanded her to release this joy? Is he bringing her flowers or opening some other door? The father never asked just how do you feel, never concerned himself if she totally healed. She would never forget the distant cry of a baby nowhere in sight, no one to lean on. Where's the father now? The strength she looked up to, love and admiration in her eyes, tears to hold, reflecting back her vision on the open door, the father so freely closed once more.
Ladies and gentlemen, the poetess, mm, Miss Abena Disroe. Thank you for blessing us with your words. Thanking you for blessing us with your wisdom, your passion, and just the knowledge that you shared with us today. If you could leave one piece of advice for an aspiring writer, an aspiring poet, what would that be? What would you tell
Okay, before I do that, I see a friend of mine,
them?
Mama Terrari, on here. Hi,
Uh
peace and blessings. It's good to see you. And um, I would say to everyone is born with a gift. Know this. Everyone are given signs of what their gift is. And when you are, nurture it. When you realize what your gift is, which you shall, and it will only die if you don't nurture it. Nurture it and watch it grow. When it grows, share it with other people. And those people will tell other people about you. And your gift will grow stronger. Not because you're the best, not because you're so good, but because you realize your God gift and you shared it with others, and you will get the blessing of how to use your gift. Everybody is different. Don't try to copy somebody else. Use your gift and let it flow, and you'll come to know that gift that you have is one that you'll realize how important it is to share with the world. And when you realize these simple, basic things, these very simple, basic things to build the foundation on which your gift can spring forward, the power in you, no one can take it away.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I know that we're going to put the information as far as where people can purchase the book at in the comments and everything like that. But are they also, in addition to that, able to get it directly from you as well if they would like to?
Yes, my email would be disroe, D as in David, I, S as in Sam, ROE at gmail.com. But also, I have a website.
Hmm.
You'll give them the website. And if you go there, it's how to contact me. There's a form. Just say, I want to be in your virtual book signing or whatever it is that you want to know. Leave a message there. I'll put your name on the list and I promise you, you will not be forgotten. I'm only putting off the virtual book signing because I need to go home and assist in the burial of my mother who passed this morning. And It will be in October, that I can promise you. So get your name into me, phone number, however you want to reach me, and I promise you, uh, I will reach out. And take a look at the website. I just put it up for all the people who have been asking me to do it.
Now, also, now you told me this kind of before we, before we came on and everything like that, that you got like 6 Facebook pages. So, so can you give me like at least 1 or 2 of them where folks can go, where folks can go to find you on social media?
People say, how do you keep up
You
with
got more
it?
than me.
You keep up with it. Some kind of way I do. But I got one called Fire in the Spirit Books, Books, Fire in the Spirit Books. Another one is High Priestess of Poetry fan club page. And then my main one, which is under the name Abena Disroe. And there's 2 of them like that. The one that I'm talking about is a picture with the children in the background with their fists raised up like this.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
people. It's great. That's the main one. And then, of course, Fire in the Spirit Books and High Priestess of Poetry fan club page. Can I say hi to Mama Terry? Can she come
Yeah,
in so can I say hi?
really
You
quickly,
might
huh?
want to
Yeah.
say
You
something. I
wanna,
don't.
yeah? Can you unmute yourself really quickly?
Yeah, because I'm just so surprised
There
to
she
see
go. There she goes. She
Oh
got
no,
it.
Abena, I and all of the women, I just left Mother Blunt, our founder, all the women of the pageant just love you so much. And we're just super proud of you.
you.
And my condolences. I just heard you share about your
Thank
mom.
you.
So, girl, we got you, and we are just encircling you with love and support at this time. Love you
Thank.
so
I love you. Mr. Host, they have a Classic Woman of the Year pageant at the Lincoln Theater every year.
Oh
Mom
wow. Okay.
founded it.
Hmm.
And so I got in the pageant one year under the urgings of somebody. And I got first runner up. And it was a beautiful experience. And Mama Blunt is 90 years old. And she's been
much.
doing the pageant for how many years?
20.
20 years.
20 years. We just
So
celebrated our 20th anniversary.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's a whole lot of other stuff you don't know about me, Mr. Huff.
I
Trust
love
me.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Like I said, High Priestess, thank you. I want to thank you so much for coming and blessing the authors showcase today.
Oh, you're
Um, yeah, absolutely. The National Black Unity News thanks you. JNF Enterprises thanks you. It has been a joy to talk with you, to speak with you, to hear from you, and I take me personally. Um, I love to listen to the elders and to
oh
get
yeah.
the wisdom that you all give to us.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a song that the rapper, you may not be familiar with him, Common. Him and John Legend wrote a song for the movie called Selma, and it's called I can't remember the name of the song. I think it might be Selma, but in the song, he talks about we need the wisdom of the elders and the energy of the young, and it's that combination that makes our community strong. We have to be willing to give, like you talked about earlier. The elders willing to give and to pour into the younger generation, but it's up. The younger generation has to be willing to listen and to take in that energy, because we then begin to take on the positions that you all prepare us for. So I thank
Yeah.
you for coming and sharing your poetry with me. Like I said, I'm in heaven because I'm a poet myself. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah,
Could I say
absolutely.
one last thing real
Yeah,
quick?
absolutely.
I just want the young people to know, anybody listening today or here, that there you can have a lot of things in the world. They come in twos, they come in threes, they come in fours, but you can only have one mother.
Amen.
Amen.
Only
Amen.
one. You can have a surrogate mother. You can have a community mother. You
So
can have.
true.
You can put any name on it you want. You can only have one. So I want to say to everybody listening, when it come around to that one Mother's Day that we celebrate every year, I say today is Mother's Day, as every day should be. For without a mother, a home would not have a queen. I hold your presence within my heart from without your beginning. From where would I have started? Mothers make mistakes as all people do, but I always honor my mother for loving me as you do. And that's, I like to leave that last word for my mother and for her transition and for her journey that she's on presently in in this time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
Okay.
we send our condolences to you. We lift your
Thank you.
family up in prayer. As said, we embrace you. We love you. This is the
Thank
time to hug on you, love on you, to let you know that we are there, and as we should be, to hold you up as you go through
Yeah.
this time and everything like that. Like she said, we got you. So if you do what it is that you do, you want to cry, you cry. If you want to laugh, you laugh. All of those things that you want to do,
All right.
and
Okay.
doing that.
Thank
So we
you. And
thank
when
you
I do
again.
my first book signing in October, I want to come aboard and everybody buy a book.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely, yes. So please
Leave
let
your
us know
contact so
when
I
you
can
have it,
get
and
to you.
we'll put it out there as well too. We'll put it out there so that people can know exactly when it is too, with the follow up and everything too. So,
Thank you
um,
so much.
yeah,
And I love
absolutely.
you, Mama Terry. And thank you, Mr. Host. You're so fabulous.
Hey, Queen
Thank you,
Abena.
thank you, and I appreciate you because this is not easy. Folks don't understand that do it with getting and losing a parent and having to come forward
Yeah.
and do those things. It's not easy to do. So I thank you for doing that. And
Yes.
this is 2020, y'all. As I say, this has been the National Black Unity News newspaper, along with JNF Enterprises for the Author Showcase, featuring today our showcase author, Miss Abena Disroe. We thank you
Yes.
again for tuning in with us. We thank y'all for coming in. I thank our other guests that came on and tuned in. We love you. Thank you so much for supporting Miss Dilrose and everything. We appreciate y'all
Love you,
for
Queen
tuning in.
Abena.
Oh,
Wanda
thank
Frazier.
you. My
This
husband's
is
on
your
the line,
classmate. This is your
Morris.
classmate.
Amen.
This is Faye. From Wanda Faye. Queen Wanda.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so
And I
good
want to say
to see
thanks to Rafiki.
you.
So,
Yes.
as
I love
always,
y'all. I love you all.
Love you too.
And thank you for your support and thank you
You're,
for your love.
you're welcome. Love you too. Love you too.
absolutely. So, as I say, y'all, this is 2020. We move fast and furious, but we move with purpose and passion. And as I always say, build the impact, because when you build the impact, you change the world. And we have
Yeah.
sisters like Abena Dilrose that is changing the world, building that impact one poem at a time, one word at a time. So we thank y'all for tuning in. The next issue of the National Black Unity News will be out the first week in October. She will be one of the authors featured in the newspaper, so you can go now and subscribe to the website, the www.tnbun.com. That is where you'll be able to subscribe to the newspaper, but you can also check out our other author showcase authors that we've interviewed on our YouTube channel, which is under the National Black Unity News newspaper as well. You can see all of these interviews that we have. We want to thank y'all for tuning in, and we will see you all next time.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
You